Hey admins, how we doing today? I'm gonna try to keep the video short as I always say, but we got a few things we need to cover that are fairly important today. As a reminder, it is the end of the month, and with the weekly stats that'll be coming out, they'll give you the most accurate information as far as where you're standing at right now in the lodge, because you know next week will start the 1st of September and it'll roll over and you'll have a negative number again from all the people that expire in August. So let's look at those numbers. The association as a whole is not doing real well. Again, we have this problem of getting applications in, so we get production, but we're not keeping those members. So, what does that mean? It means that we're getting them in, but we can't keep them. Again, it comes down to activities. We need to make sure we're having more activities in the lodge, and we want to have activities that our members want. So we should be asking them what they want to have. Again, as I always say, it shouldn't be you as the administrator or specifically one of the lodge officers that have to run those events. If you find somebody that wants a certain event in the lodge, ask them if they're willing to help head that up and start that program. Let them be a chairperson and run that event. Those are the ones that become most successful that way. Also, it is 990 time again, as we say again and again. September 15th is the deadline for filing for this year. We need to make sure that we are either working with the CPA or if we're doing them on our own in the lodge, that we are getting very close to being done. Again, those have to be filed electronically, and once you have the confirmation number, you should be sending that to the 990 chairman, Rusty Shields. When your 990 is also completed and you have that confirmation number, you should be taking that to your board of officers and to your general membership. You should let them know that that the lodge has filed and it's good. We're not passing that information along. We have too many officers that don't even know what a 990 is. So we need to be taking those to the lodge, letting the officers and the membership know where we're at in the process, and when they're done, letting them see those forms. It's not secret. It's public information. Not filing on time. You can get a fine for not filing on time. And I'm not mistaken, they've increased also if you don't file, every day that you don't file, you're going to get a fine. It used to be $20 a day. I'm not for sure on the number, but I think I heard it has now went to $50 a day. The lodge can't afford those kind of fines, so we need to make sure we're filing on time. Also, as a reminder, there's an admin class now available for administrators. About 95% of my administrators need this training because it hasn't been available during COVID. There were a handful that did it right in the very end of 2020. I think it was still available, maybe even spring of 21, that did the online version and got it in before it went off. Right now, in-person classes are the only option we have, and we have two coming up. One is September 15th and 16th, and that's a Thursday, Friday. And the other one is October 1st and 2nd, which is a Saturday and a Sunday. That way we give you some weekdays and weekends as options. The online version may not be available for a while. Again, Moose International has not given us any hard dates of when that release will be, but it looks like it will be quite a while, possibly 6 months to a year. So this may be your only chance to get in there and get that class, especially those administrators that have never taken the class. You really need to go to this. Also, I want to cover a couple of minor issues that we seem to be having out there. We have lodges that are having events that they should have dispensations for, and they don't have dispensations for them. There are two types of dispensations for events to be covered. One is with alcohol and one's without alcohol. If you're having any type of event, I see lots of moose riders or motorcycle rides, even though I'm moose riders, and the lodge is hosting the event. If the lodge is in charge of that event and you're not just a stop, or you have some moose members that are in it, but it's being sponsored by another organization, you have to have a dispensation for that. Excuse me. If you're taking anything where you might be getting money from the public, you need to make sure you have a dispensation for that. Again, I'll send this event guide along with this email that helps cover those situations. But if you don't know, ask. And the reason why you have to have this dispensation is for a few different reasons. It's to say the lodge is allowed to have a fundraiser and you're not being taxed on that fundraiser, whether the lodge is getting the money or it's going to a different charity group. You have to have a dispensation. Also, for insurance purposes, if you don't have the permission to have this event, whether your board of officers didn't approve it, your general membership didn't approve it, and you didn't get a dispensation from the chief compliance officer, and you're having one of those events, especially those events we forget about that are off-site, away from the lodge itself, it covers those people in case somebody gets hurt. You remember, if you're not doing that and not getting the dispensation, and say something tragically happens, and Moose International and the insurance company says you're not covered because you didn't take the proper steps to get the right documentation, you yourself can be liable for that situation. So make sure you're getting these. Again, if you need help, give me a call. They're very easy. We just did a barbecue sale down in Terre Haute, Indiana, and I helped the lodge with that. We sent in the dispensation on Thursday night. We didn't get it, Wednesday night. We should have sent it out sooner, but there was some online complications. They got the dispensation approved and back the next morning on Thursday morning, so we had it back in plenty of time. Again, that situation, we waited to the last second. We don't like it. You really need to ask for dispensations and have approval before you even start advertising the event. Just in case for some reason it doesn't get approved and you can't have that event, you would hate to be out there advertising it and then not be able to have it. So we need to make sure we're getting dispensations with or without alcohol. If you're taking money from anybody, even in situations where you may be taking a bus to a baseball game or, the horse races or, to a casino and the lodge is sponsoring it, if you're taking money and may not even make any money, it's just to cover the cost of the bus and the hotel rooms, maybe you're having gambling on, selling pull tabs on the bus, those type of things. If you're taking money, even if you're not going to make a profit, you really need to make sure you have one of these. Even those situations are covered. That way also Moose International and the insurance company said, yes, you had permission to go off to the casino and we know you're on a bus ride somewhere just in case something happens. Again, just being safe. The last thing I want to cover really fast, and I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes. I see I'm at 7.5. Are contracts. We have too many lodges that are entering into contracts that they don't have permission to. And they shouldn't just be in a contract anyways. If you're doing any kind of contract, whether it be a loan with a bank or something for remodeling or, a trash company, a linen company, maybe a gaming company, depending on what you have in your lodge, any of those contracts, they have to be first approved by the board before they go to the membership. The membership has to approve it. And in those situations, you should always contact Moose International or myself to cover contracts, because we have too many lodges that are getting into these contracts that are these perpetual contracts. They're never ending and people sign them. And I see them when it comes to these credit card companies that are third-party credit card companies. I see it with trash companies. I see it with these linen companies, and they're really bad about doing that. Like if you don't cancel within the last year of the 5-year contract, it automatically renews. We don't suggest you guys get into those kind of contracts, and that's why we prefer to view them first before we let you guys approve them, because I'm not a lawyer. Most likely you're not a lawyer, so we would like to have somebody review it first. And along those lines, signing those contracts, we have a problem with people just how do I want to phrase this? They're just automatically signing them, and they're people who shouldn't be signing them. We've had them where past employees have signed them, women of chapters that weren't officers in the lodge, and maybe even years before when women weren't part of the lodge yet, signing contracts. Well, there's a way to do it. It's covered in our lodge operations workshop. We need to make sure when we're signing a contract, it needs to be the administrator or acting administrator, and it needs to be worded properly. It needs to be worded, and I had it up here and I just filed it away. It should read, I wouldn't sign it just Dan Evans. I would put, Vincennes Lodge 281 Loyal Order of the Moose, by Dan Evans, secretary. That way I'm doing it on behalf of the lodge. I'm not doing it on my own. If I just signed it Dan Evans, I could be liable for fulfilling that contract if the lodge decides not to do it, not to abide by that contract. And also along that lines, we have a lodge seal. The lodge seal needs to be on those contracts. You need to clamp that on there so we know that it's been approved by the lodge and done properly. That also helps with litigation when it says, this is done on behalf of the lodge, not by an individual. We have a lot of those credit card companies where the third ones where they've swiped it, where you swipe your card and they're not part of a larger company, and it's some local person or a state away, and then they'll say, well, we're going to sue you now for X amount of years for breaking a contract, or you still owe us $69.99 per credit card unit per month for this long, and we're going to take you to court. So when it comes to contracts, make sure you're doing it the proper way. Board approval, membership approval. Send it to myself or the compliance office or the risk management office and say, hey, just look over this to make sure I'm not getting into a contract I don't want to be part of, or don't want the lodge to be part of, and make sure you're signing it from the lodge, not from yourself. All right, I went 11 minutes. I do apologize. You guys have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.